be brand new, you know? It's like when you redo your kitchen. You got custom up top, you got IKEA down the bottom, right? I'd love to adopt. It's a great thing to do. But if I do it, I'm not telling any of my friends. I'm just gonna show up with the kid one day just to piss him off, right? Mine just turned 6, mine just turned 7. I'd love to just show up with an 8-year-old like Domino's. Yeah, now I get to tell you what you don't understand. 7-year-old, where do they turn 8? 8 is such a funny age. Terrible too. Try the instant 8s when just bam, they're just there like all their issues. Dude, I should do it though. I should adopt. I think it's a great thing to do. And I already know what I want to get. I do. I want to get like an 07, 08. Always garage. Good dentition. You know what I would love to do? I'd love to rescue some kid that works in a sweatshop. Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, find the kid that made this shirt. You show up at the factory like, hey, huh? Hey, bring it in. Bring it in, you maniac. How you doing? You're going back to the States. L-shaped couch, flat screen TV, get in the car. The rest of you keep sewing. But you, coming home with me. Yeah. Dude, how easy would that kid be to raise? Right? After the hell he's been through, all I gotta do is let him sit down. I am immediately the greatest human being this kid has ever met. Just bring him home. Yeah, Dad, have a seat. He'd be like, I get to sit down? Yeah, lay down on the couch. He'd be like, it's like a cloud. It's like a cloud. Yeah, I'll get him a bowl of Fritos, put on cricket or soccer, one of those sweatshop sports. I don't know. Kid would love me. So that's my first draft pick, all right? Coming out of the gate with that. In the second round, I'd probably get like an 05 boy soldier, you know? Yeah, sure up the offensive line. You gotta protect the blind side. Yeah, that's how fucked up the world is. There's little boys out there fighting in wars. So that's a twofer. I can drag him out of that hell, give him something of what's left of his childhood, and God forbid, if the dollar ever collapses, right? Shit goes south, zombies take over, I got backup, you know? Everybody thinks I'm gonna be the problem. Meanwhile, I got this sawed-off Chuck Norris standing next to me, 170 kills, confirmed fucking kills. They're not stories. To make a flamethrower out of like a vacuum cleaner and a toaster. You can't coach that, right? I gotta be honest with you though. I feel like I'd have to go easier on the discipline with the boy soldier, you know? I might be nuts, but I feel like I could come down on the Sweatshop Kid, all right? I said, get in there and clean up your goddamn room. I'm getting sick of this shit. Goes for you too if you want. But you! You've been out of line all day, mister. Don't even start that shit. Don't even start that shit. You say that every time. Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. Every fucking time you say that, you know the answer. Now, you want me to say it again? Fine, I'll break it down to you, okay? You know what? You know why it is? You know why? You wanna know why? Because you sew. All right? Yeah. Yeah, dude, you sew. Dude, he's fucking killed people. You understand that? No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to make his bed, too. No, he doesn't. Because he doesn't sleep in the bed. He's out in the bushes all night talking to himself, freaking me the fuck out. All right? Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. He scares me, too. He scares me, too. Don't even start that shit. You wanted a big brother, and I got you one. Don't even start that shit, all right? All right, you're right, okay? Stop crying, okay? Shouldn't have yelled at you. Okay, I just thought I could fucking, bring him in, give him a couple of Pop-Tarts. I figured he'd chill out. Fucking sitting there looking through his eyebrows, doing that Full Metal Jacket shit, Nah, you can't give him back. It doesn't work that way. Oh, hey, there he is! There he is! What's up, buddy? What's going on? Yeah, we were just talking. Bring that over to the kids. I'm sure that won't freak them out at all. Mommy, did you get us a dog? Arr! Arr!
Just let him sniff you. Just let him sniff you. Do not approach him from the right. Do not approach him from the right. Just let him sniff you. Come around. It becomes an entirely different animal when you do that. Just know you come from the left. His name is Pookie. We're gonna call him Pookie now. So she was into that. I wanted to get the bulldog. That was my thing. I was like, I want to get the bulldog. Then I started researching on the bulldogs. They got all these health problems, man. From day one, they can't even breathe. They come out into the world. It's like they've been working with asbestos their entire life. You know? It's unbelievable. They can't even breathe. You gotta have them sleeping upright in this lazy boy, rubbing Vicks vapor rub on their chest. They got like sleep apnea. They die 9 times every night. Why don't I just rescue a retired offensive lineman while I'm at it? Yeah, this is Jim Jeffcoat. We're gonna call him Larry for the rest of his life for some stupid reason. So, didn't know what to do. So we were at a stalemate. So my girl did what most females do. They just figure, I know it's good for him. I know it's gonna make him happy. I'm gonna make a major decision without him, and then he's gonna deal with it. Yeah, that's how I got a dog. I got a dog when I was on the road. I was on the road, and I just had a message on my machine. It was just, boot. And I just heard, she's just like, okay. I did something. Kind of involves both of us, but I think you're gonna love it. Just give me a call. Okay, bye. Now, does that sound like I just signed you up for a 12 to 15 year commitment? That doesn't sound like that, right? That sounds like I bought a new outfit. I'm gonna drag you to some awful restaurant during a playoff game, right? That's what it felt like. So I'm ready for that argument. She tells me she went out and she got a dog. Now, half of me isn't upset, because you got a rescue dog? Yeah, we have it for a week, and if you want to keep it, we can. So I go, let me see it. So we started Skyping, and she pans around. You know what she got? She got a pit bull. Swear to God, I'm like, oh, you got a pit bull? You out of your fucking mind? You got a pit bull? She goes, it's not a pit bull, it's a mix. Mix with what? Another pit bull? Look at that thing. This thing's been doing pull-ups its entire life. Front paws were still taped up. It's like shadow boxing in the background. It's been P90Xing. It's a pit bull. Jesus Christ. And she's just like, no, he's sweet. She said, no, she's adorable and all this type of, This is the worst part. I wasn't getting home for 3 days, And she's all wrapped up in this dog, And I'm like, I don't get home for 3 days. What happens when I get home on Monday and you have to go to work? She goes, well, I just figured I'd drive to work and you could just come home to the apartment and meet the dog that way. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I'm not coming home to that. That dog is bonding with you. It thinks you guys live there. I'm gonna come walking in and have my calf ripped off because I'm trying to show my name on the phone bill? No, it's not going down like that. So she's like, well, what do I do? I'll tell you what you do. You take that hellhound, you put it in the goddamn car, drive it to work, park in the shade, do whatever you gotta do. I'm coming home to a safe house, and then you drive home with the dog. Call me when you're a half mile away. I'll meet you and Cujo down in the driveway. We will all walk in together. I will be in the front to show that I am the pack leader because I watched half an episode of The Dog Whisperer, and I think that that's what you're supposed to do. I think. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's all true, right? So I go down to the driveway, and I see the dog. It's a beautiful dog. It's literally like walking like a Marine or some shit, like it's sneaking into something. And I'm like, okay, here we go, turning my back on a pit bull that I don't even know. That turns out they didn't get it to shelter. They found it by the LA River. It lived by the LA River for 2 weeks. And my girl's response to that was like, isn't that sad? No, it's fucking scary. Why is it scary? Well, obviously it got enough protein, so it wasn't eating berries out there. That thing was choking out coyotes. Breaking the necks of squirrels. I don't know what it was doing, but it definitely was. You brought a murderer into the house. Why don't you just rescue an alligator while you're at it, just to add to the excitement? So we get the dog in the damn house, and it's exactly what I thought was gonna happen. The dog's sitting there looking at her, and then it's looking at me, and then looking at her like, who the hell's the new guy, right? The new guy is the guy paying the fucking rent, and I was getting no respect, so I was just like, I was right there, I was just like, I know what she's doing. I know what she's doing. She's bringing this dog home because she thinks I'm going to fall for it, and then we'll just have the dog. And it's just like, I love animals, okay? But I'm not going to live with one that can fucking kill me, Rescue a chihuahua, so when it flips out because I grabbed the remote too quickly, I can flick it off the goddamn table or something, So that's what we got it for a week.
We realized that I have been carrying that shit around and being like, all right, well, that's why I drank the way I did. That's why I've trashed women.
The way all the fucking shit, I knew every fucking thing I did, good and bad, in that moment. It's like, all right, so now I got to get sober, and I got to fucking work my way through this shit, because, my wife's, I don't know if you guys notice, I have a bit of a temper. No, not you, Bill, yeah. So here's the thing, but I didn't think, I'm so fucked up, and grew up such a fucked up time, that I didn't even think I had a temper. Because I was like, well, I don't fucking yell at people in my house. Like, I don't curse my wife out. I mean, we get into it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I get into it with her, but I don't go like, oh, Jesus Christ, you fucking bitch. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't yell at my kids. But what I do is, I still do, is I flip out. So, like I said, I didn't think that this was a problem. My wife told me it was a problem, but I don't listen to her. Why would I listen to her? All she does is criticize. I got nothing but bad reviews on the fucking husband Yelp. It's just all, didn't enjoy the experience. Thumbs down, half a star, never get a fucking attaboy, right? So it just becomes white noise after a while. Like, oh, what, am I doing something wrong again? Oh, yeah, you again. Okay, great. Great. What did I do? What did I do this time, huh? What do I have to work on? Go ahead, fucking let me know, right? So I don't listen to my lovely wife like an idiot, like the idiot that I am. So one day I learned a harsh lesson, okay? It was a breakfast time, right? For some reason, I had 20 minutes to myself, which is really rare when you got 2 kids, 4 and under, right? So I'm thinking holy shit, I can actually make myself a breakfast. Like the old days. I'll make myself 2 eggs over easy. I'll make some toast. I'll make some bacon. Fucking burn it up the way I like it. It's gonna be the shit, right? So I'm having a great time, make myself a little Grand Slam breakfast. I sit down to eat. I got the OJ. I got the glass of water. It looks like a picture from a commercial. And right as I sit down to eat, my phone lights up, and I get a text message from my buddy. He goes, hey man, I thought you were coming on this Zoom meeting. It started 5 minutes ago. We need you on this. And I just absolutely lost it. I was like, Jesus Christ. Of course I have a meeting. Of course I have my meeting. Because why couldn't I just have one goddamn cocksucking motherfucking motor to myself? Fucking toast flying all over the place, flipping the fuck out. And then all of a sudden, my daughter, who was 2.5 at the time, comes running into the kitchen with big tears in her eyes, just going I'm sorry, Dada, I'm sorry. And I was like, oh shit. So I literally just squatted down. I was like, no, buddy, no, come here. I wasn't yelling at you. Daddy wasn't yelling at you. I would never yell at you. I love you, buddy. Daddy was yelling at the phone, okay? Dad yells at the phone when it says stuff that he doesn't like, okay? Your dad has issues. I would never yell at you. And I could literally feel her tears drying in my shirt. I was like, buddy, come on. I would never do it, okay? I love you. I so love you. I'm like, okay, all right, buddy. And then I did that thing, you turn around, and then you push him in the direction you want him to go in. And I just had to sit there I just did that. To 2.5. And she was walking away, and I'm just sitting there thinking how bad was that? Is she just gonna go play with the toy and forget about it? Or is she no longer gonna be an astronaut? What did I just do? I thought I was better than my dad. I'm making the same mistakes that he's making.
She raised her glass and toasted her lover while our daughter cheered her on. She called it liberation, called it truth. I sat at that table and watched everyone I loved applaud my downfall. I didn't yell, didn't throw anything, just told them quietly they'd pay for it. 3 months on, her high-priced lawyer stormed into a room shouting, "Does he understand what he's done?" My name is Preston Doyle. I'm 53 years old, and for 25 years I thought I was building a family. I was mistaken. What I'd actually constructed was a platform for the people I loved to act out their disloyalty. That Thursday evening, Jennifer insisted we have what she called a family supper. Just the 3 of us, she claimed, even though I counted 4 place settings at the table. When I mentioned the extra chair, she gave me that unfamiliar smile, the kind that never touched her eyes, and told me a friend might drop by. That friend turned out to be Derek Collins, my supposed pal from the country club, the man I'd golfed with for 3 straight years. He strolled in like the house belonged to him, pressed a kiss to Jennifer's cheek, and left a smear of lipstick on his collar. That told me everything. The exact color I'd found on our bathroom sink 2 weeks prior. The exact color I'd scrubbed away with bleach, convincing myself I hadn't seen it. Madison showed up 20 minutes behind schedule, phone already glued to her hand. 23 years old, still behaving as though the world owed her something. She embraced her mother, waved casually at Derek like they went way back, and barely acknowledged me. We sat down to the meal. Jennifer filled every glass with wine, Madison included, despite her not being of legal drinking age. Nobody in that room seemed bothered by it. The talk drifted around me as though I were part of the furniture. Derek bragged about his newest boat purchase. Jennifer chuckled at unfunny remarks. Madison kept her eyes on her phone between bites. Then Jennifer lifted her glass. The crystal reflected light off the chandelier I'd hung myself 5 years back. She glanced at Derek, then at Madison, and spoke words I'll carry forever. To freedom, Jennifer declared, her tone level and icy, and to finally being truthful with ourselves. Madison raised her glass right away. My daughter, the same girl who once picked dandelions for me in the yard, gazed at her mother like she was gazing at royalty, and added her own line. Mom's earned her happiness, Madison said, meeting my eyes for the first time all night. You've made her miserable for way too long, Dad. Jennifer beamed, not a warm smile but a triumphant one, like she'd just claimed a prize. Derek lifted his own glass with a smug little grin I wanted to erase from his face. They clinked glasses together as I sat watching my family raise a toast to my downfall. I picked up my scotch, swallowed it whole, and set the empty glass down without a sound. When I finally spoke, my tone was steadier than I'd ever heard from myself. Every one of you will get precisely what you've earned, I told them. That's a promise. None of them grasped what I meant. They were too caught up in their celebration, but I understood. I'd understood for months, having spent longer preparing for this exact moment than they'd spent plotting their treachery. I rose, took my jacket off the chair back, and left that dining room for good. Behind me, Jennifer laughed and murmured something to Derek. I never caught the words, and I never wanted to. The family photographs still lined the hallway walls as I walked past them, 25 years of deception framed and displayed. I left them exactly where they hung and kept moving forward. Sleep never came that night. I couldn't manage it. Instead, I sat in the guest cottage I'd fixed up the year before, the same one Jennifer had ridiculed as my midlife crisis project, and reviewed every file I'd been quietly assembling over the previous 8 months. Understand, I don't act on impulse. Never have. From the moment I spotted lipstick on the sink, smelled perfume I'd never purchased for her, noticed her dressing up for client meetings that somehow never produced any deals, I stayed quiet. I observed, kept records, and reached out to Ted Langford. Theodore Langford had managed my grandfather's estate for 17 years. He was 68, mentally razor-sharp, and understood trust law better than most practicing attorneys ever would. When I laid out my situation to him over lunch half a year earlier, he offered no comfort, only a plan. If you're correct about this, Ted said, stirring his coffee with careful precision, we act fast, but we act silently. No theatrics, no announcements, just paperwork. And that's precisely the course we followed. Everything my grandfather had left behind, every property, every account, got reorganized. Limited liability companies, irrevocable trusts, foundation transfers, all fully lawful, all completely out of Jennifer's reach. She never caught on because she never bothered to look. When I handed her papers to sign during our quarterly tax meetings, she'd brush me aside and sign wherever I indicated. Just deal with the tedious stuff, Preston, she used to tell me. That's your territory. Turns out she was correct about that. At 6:45 in the morning, I got dressed in my finest suit and drove downtown to Ted's office. He was already waiting behind his mahogany desk, coffee brewing, divorce paperwork organized in tidy stacks. Prepared? Ted asked, peering over his glasses. Been prepared for months, I answered. We submitted the filing at 8:06. The courthouse opened at 8, but a line had already formed. I wanted to be there early, wanted the process underway before Jennifer even grasped I meant business. The clerk stamped the papers, gave me my copies, and just like that, 25 years of marriage turned into a legal case. Ted escorted me back to my car. She's coming after you hard, Preston. Her and whichever attorney she hires. They'll paint you as controlling, spiteful, hiding money. Let them try, I said. Every bit of it's documented. Every bit of it's legal. Every bit of it dated before she ever started cheating. That's exactly what I like hearing, Ted said with a faint grin. Now go live. I'll manage the legal fight. I returned to the guest cottage and waited. Jennifer didn't reach out until 2:17 that afternoon. I watched my phone vibrate with her name on the screen and let it ring. She tried 4 more times over the following 20 minutes. Then a text arrived. Where'd you go? Did you storm off to pout again? This is so immature, Preston. I sent one line back along with a tracking number. Divorce documents arriving at your lawyer's office by 4 p.m.
My phone lit up nonstop after that.
I powered it down, poured a drink, and sat outside watching daylight shift across the horizon. For the first time in ages, breathing felt easy. Jennifer's attorney reached out 3 days after she was served. Lawrence Pierce, a flashy divorce lawyer who dressed in $1,000 suits and drove a leased Mercedes to impress his clientele. I'd seen his advertisements posted around town, fighting for your rights printed beneath his self-satisfied face. His demand letter came certified mail, 10 pages of legal bluster that essentially demanded Jennifer receive everything. The house, both vehicles, alimony set at 40% of my supposed earnings, complete control over what he termed shared investment holdings, including my pension and the downtown rental units. I read through it twice, then passed it to Ted over lunch at his club. Bold, Ted remarked, flipping through the pages with an unreadable expression and totally out of touch. Can they really claim any of it? I asked. Ted put the letter aside and looked at me across his coffee. They can claim anything they like, Preston. Doesn't guarantee they'll receive it. Every single item on that list either predates the marriage or sits inside a trust she has zero legal access to. She signed papers years back during our estate planning, though. Precisely, Ted said. She voluntarily waived her advisory rights over the Wellington Trust with a lawyer present, even if she wasn't paying attention. That signature becomes our strongest weapon. What about the house? Which one? Ted asked with a small smirk. The primary residence is titled in your name, bought using trust money before you two married. She can argue all she wants. The paperwork says something else entirely. Ted composed a reply that same day. 1 page. Professional. Crushing. It itemized every asset Pierce had requested and laid out, in precise legal terms, exactly why Jennifer held no rights to any of it. He attached a chart illustrating the trust setup, dated files, and notarized signatures spanning 15 years. This won't finish it, Ted cautioned. Pierce will fight back. They always do. But this establishes our starting ground. We aren't negotiating. We're informing them of the facts. The letter went out the following morning. I spent that afternoon at the gym burning off stress I hadn't realized I was holding. When I got home, 7 missed calls from Madison waited on my phone. No messages, just calls. I didn't return them. She'd made her decision at that dinner table, chosen her mother, chosen Derek, chosen to belittle the man who'd funded her entire life. She could live with that. My phone buzzed once more, a text from Jennifer this time. You're overreacting. We need to discuss this like grown adults. I erased it unanswered. She'd had 25 years to act like an adult with me. That window had closed. Lawrence Pierce took Ted's letter poorly. I know because his follow-up doubled in length and halved in professionalism. He accused me of concealing assets, called the trust setup suspiciously well-timed, and threatened to demand full financial discovery.
Ted actually chuckled reading it.
Let him, Ted said during our next meeting. Discovery cuts both directions. He wants our records? Fine, we'll hand him all of it. Every legitimate filing, every proper structure, every document his client signed without ever reading a word of it. Think that'll deter him? No, Ted admitted, but it'll slow him down once he sees how far this really goes.
Pierce filed his motion.
We countered with a paper trail that would have made federal auditors envious. 97 pages of trust records, property transfer documents reaching back to 1989, tax filings proving a clean split between marital income and trust payouts, incorporation papers for the 3 LLCs holding the rentals, and my personal favorite, a signed waiver from Jennifer dated 7 years earlier explicitly renouncing any claim to Wellington Trust assets. Ted had gotten her to sign it during a routine estate review, calling it standard tax paperwork. She'd been rushing that day, late for a salon appointment, and signed without reading a word. "Whatever satisfies the IRS, Preston," she'd said at the time, barely glancing at it. That signature became our key piece of evidence. Pierce went silent for 2 weeks, then called Ted directly, which supposedly carries weight in legal circles. Ted put him on speaker, so I could listen in. "Your client's position doesn't hold up," Pierce said, his composure clearly slipping. "These structures were obviously built to dodge community property statutes." "These structures," Ted replied evenly, "existed long before your client entered the picture. My client inherited them. Your client signed acknowledgments confirming their separate status. This isn't evasion. This is standard estate management. We'll argue asset commingling. Go ahead. I've got 15 years of banking records proving total separation. Not a dollar of trust money ever touched marital accounts. Not a dollar of marital money ever entered the trust. Good luck." The call ended not long after. Pierce had run out of arguments. Ted looked at me from across his desk. "They're starting to grasp what they're facing. This is usually when panic sets in." "How bad does it get?" I asked. "Bad enough for mistakes," Ted said. "And we'll be waiting for each one." Madison showed up at the guest cottage one Tuesday afternoon unannounced. I heard her BMW pull in, the graduation gift I'd bought her, and watched from the window as she sat inside it for a full minute before stepping out. Rehearsing, clearly, probably running through some script her mother had drilled into her. When she finally knocked, I made her wait, brewed coffee, checked my inbox, let her knock 2 more times before answering. She stood there in expensive denim and a jacket worth more than most people's rent. Everything on her body, I'd paid for. The car parked behind her, I'd paid for. The degree that led nowhere, I'd paid for that too. "Can I come in?" she asked, her voice smaller than I'd heard in years. I stepped back without a word. She entered slowly, scanning the space like she was walking through an exhibit on modest living. "This is nice," she said, clearly lying, cozy. I sat down with my coffee and didn't offer her any, just waited. Madison perched at the edge of the couch, fiddling with her phone case. "Dad, I came because I think this has spiraled out of control. You're giving up everything over a single mistake." "A single mistake?" I echoed calmly. "Is that the label we're using for your mother's affair now?" "It's not like she planned it," Madison said, her words tumbling out as though rehearsed. "These things just happen. People drift apart. You should be thankful she stuck around this long." I set my mug down deliberately. "Thankful?" "Yes," Madison said, growing bolder than she should have. "Dad, honestly, you've always been kind of shut off, distant. Mom gave you her all. You just never noticed." I leaned toward her, hands clasped, and studied my daughter closely. Really studied her. Heard Jennifer's phrases spilling from her lips. Recognized the entitlement I'd allowed to flourish by never refusing her anything. Saw the woman she'd turned into while I was out earning to give her everything. "Madison," I said softly, "I revised my will last week." She laughed, genuinely laughed. "Right, Dad?" "Sure. I'm not joking. You were named in it. Major trust allocations, education funds for future kids, property inheritance. All of it." I paused. "Not anymore." Her smile vanished. "What are you saying?" "You told me I should be thankful your mother betrayed me. You raised a glass to celebrate her affair. And now you're standing here echoing her defenses, trying to make me out as the bad guy." I stood. "You picked a team, Madison. That's your right, but you don't get to pick your mother's side and still expect my money." "You can't be serious," she whispered. "You wouldn't do this over something like this." "I already have. Ted Langford filed the change 4 days ago. There's a behavior clause now, drafted by me, submitted by him, fully legal and unable to be reversed without my direct approval, which you won't be receiving. Madison shot up fast enough to shift the couch. Mom said you were only trying to frighten us. Tell your mother, I said, moving to open the door, that the trust revision has already been filed. Tell her only Ted Langford can undo it. Tell her about the behavior clause that removes anyone acting against the estate's interests. That old man, Madison's voice climbed. The one from Christmas 2 years back you kept mentioning while I sat on my phone. Executive trustee of the Wellington estate, I confirmed. The one you dismissed while browsing Instagram. He controls everything now. You're removing me entirely. Madison's voice trembled. I'm still your daughter.
You are, I said.
But you chose your side. You defended her betrayal. You humiliated me at my own table. Those were your choices. This is mine. She didn't slam the door leaving. That would have taken conviction. She shut it gently, as though hoping I'd change my mind and call her back. I didn't because that wasn't a warning. It was final. Dorothy Richardson called 2 days after Madison's visit. Jennifer's mother, 72, a cancer survivor, and the sole member of Jennifer's family who'd ever shown me real respect. Preston, Dorothy said when I picked up, I need to see you. Not at your place, somewhere neutral, please. We met at a diner situated between her assisted living residence and my cottage. Dorothy was already seated in a booth, coffee poured, looking older than I remembered, but with a sharper glint in her eyes. Thank you for coming, she said as I slid in opposite her. Of course, Dorothy. You've never once asked me for anything, so this must matter. She wrapped both hands around her cup. I heard about the divorce, about Madison losing her inheritance, about it all unraveling. I imagine you got Jennifer's version, I said.
She tried, Dorothy said.
Told me you were being cruel, that you couldn't stomach her happiness, that you're taking it out on everyone because your pride got wounded. She looked at me directly. I didn't believe a single word. That caught me off guard. Why not? Because I know my own daughter, Preston. I know precisely what she's capable of, and I know what you've given this family for 25 years. Dorothy reached over and rested her hand on mine. I also know about the medical costs. I froze. The cancer treatments, she went on, the experimental therapy insurance refused to touch, the specialist visits in Boston, the home care nurses. Her voice cracked slightly. Jennifer told me Medicare handled it, said I qualified for some assistance program. There was no such program, was there? Her eyes welled up, though nothing fell.
It was you.
All of it. Every visit, every treatment, every payment that kept me alive. That was your money. I said nothing. There was nothing to say. How much?
Dorothy asked.
Doesn't matter. Preston. How much? I let out a slow breath. $140,000 across 3 years.
But don't worry about that.
I never wanted you finding out. You were sick, you needed help, I had the resources. That's all there was to it. Dorothy withdrew her hand and dabbed her eyes with a napkin. Jennifer has no idea, does she?
No.
I told her the trust was funding some medical charity work. She never bothered asking for specifics. Of course she didn't, Dorothy said bitterly. Too busy to notice her own mother nearly died, too wrapped up in her affair to wonder how those bills got paid. She fixed me with a steady look. You're a far better man than my daughter deserves, Preston. You always were. I appreciate hearing that. I'll testify for you, she said abruptly. If this reaches a courtroom, if they attempt to portray you as some vengeful monster, I'll speak about the medical bills, about your character, about the man you truly are. That'll ruin things between you and Jennifer. Dorothy smiled sadly. That relationship ended the moment she picked Derek over her marriage, the moment she let Madison disrespect you, the moment she forgot what family actually means. She stood slowly, gathering her purse. You saved my life, Preston. The least I owe you is speaking the truth about yours. She left money on the table for both coffees and walked out carrying more grace than her daughter ever had. I sat there another 20 minutes staring at my cold cup, realizing sometimes the people who marry into your family see you more clearly than the ones who married you. Lawrence Pierce barged into Jennifer's temporary workspace at her sister Sarah's house one Thursday morning. I know this because Sarah phoned Ted right after, and Ted called me. Jennifer had been operating out of Sarah's place since I'd rekeyed the main house, another move Pierce hadn't anticipated I could legally make, given the property sat in trust, and she'd never appeared on any deed. According to Sarah, who was clearly reconsidering her support of her sister's affair, Pierce didn't bother knocking, just shoved the door open hard enough to hit the wall, his face pale, briefcase dangling open like he'd sprinted there. "Do you have any idea whose will got rewritten?" Pierce shouted, all professional calm gone. Jennifer had been mid-video call with prospective clients. Sarah heard her respond dismissively, something like, "I'm busy right now, Lawrence." Pierce slapped a document onto the desk. "This is what your husband filed last week. Do you grasp what this means?" Sarah, standing in the hallway, heard Jennifer's tone shift from irritated to bewildered. "What are you even talking about?" "The Wellington Trust," Pierce said, papers rustling audibly. "The one I assumed held maybe 2 or 3 million. The one I figured we could negotiate down." He paused. "It's nowhere near 2 or 3 million, Jennifer." "How much is it?" "Try 15 million in liquid assets, another 20 in real estate, renewable energy holdings worth at least 8 million, plus a foundation structure controlling another 12 million in grants." Pierce's voice climbed. "That's $55 million, Jennifer. 55 million you have absolutely no legal claim to because you signed those rights away 7 years back." The video call apparently cut off abruptly. Sarah heard Jennifer say something inaudible. "And that's not even the worst news," Pierce continued. "He's rewritten his entire will. Everything's going to the Crescent Foundation Veteran Housing Programs, a scholarship fund. You're excluded. Madison's excluded. Your mother's excluded. There's a behavior clause managed by Theodore Langford that specifically cuts out anyone who acted against the estate's interests." "That can't be legal," Jennifer said. "It's completely legal," Pierce shot back. "Filed, notarized, backed by paperwork going back 3 decades. And here's the real kicker, the part that makes me want to drop this case entirely: you helped him do it. Every document you signed without reading. Every trust file you dismissed as boring. Every time you told him to just handle the financial matters because you couldn't be bothered." Sarah heard Pierce laugh, though it carried no humor. "You built this trap yourself, Jennifer. You just sealed it shut." Silence stretched out. Then Jennifer asked quietly, "What do I do now?" "Pray," Pierce replied, "that he feels merciful when this wraps up, because legally, you're about to walk away with nothing." Ted played me Sarah's voicemail later that day. She'd recorded the entire exchange on her phone, wanting me to understand exactly what kind of attorney Pierce was and what Jennifer was finally beginning to comprehend. I listened twice. Felt no triumph, no satisfaction, just exhaustion. "This isn't finished," Ted said. "Pierce will attempt something desperate. They always do once they realize they've lost." "Let him try," I said. "We've stayed 3 moves ahead the entire way through. No reason to slow down now." Derek Collins vanished exactly 9 days after Pierce's breakdown in Jennifer's office. Not gradually, no explanation offered. Simply gone. Sarah called to inform me personally. "Preston, figured you'd want to know. Derek packed up and left town. Jennifer's been trying to reach him for 2 days straight. His number's disconnected, his condo's emptied out, even his boat's missing from the marina." "How's Jennifer handling it?" I asked. "How do you think?" Sarah said. She shattered, keeps insisting there's some misunderstanding, that he wouldn't just vanish without a word. Sarah paused. "But I looked into it, Preston. Called a contact at the marina. Derek sold that boat 3 weeks ago, right around when Pierce would have told Jennifer her financial situation. He already knew she wasn't getting anything. He knew, and he bolted." Sarah's tone hardened. Jennifer thought he loved her. Thought they'd build a future together. Turns out he was just waiting to see if the money would show up. Once it didn't, neither did he. I should have felt something, maybe vindication, satisfaction watching Jennifer's illusion crumble. Instead, I just felt a hollow ache for the years wasted on someone who'd never appreciated what she had. "There's more," Sarah continued. "Turns out Derek's pulled the scheme before, 3 times actually. Wealthy married women, He romances them, pushes them toward leaving their husbands, then vanishes once the money doesn't come through. There's a woman in Connecticut who lost everything because of him. Another in Rhode Island. Jennifer know this? She does now. I showed her the court filings, the restraining orders, the pattern. Sarah sighed. She's not just broken-hearted, Preston. She's mortified, realizing she gave up 25 years for a con man who never cared about her at all. Jennifer tried calling that evening 7 times, leaving 1 voicemail. Preston, please. I know I don't deserve this, but can we talk? I made a horrible mistake. I see that now. Derek's gone, and I just need someone who actually knows me. Please call back. I deleted the message without listening to the full thing, blocked her number, and rekeyed the locks again just to be certain. Ted phoned the following morning. Jennifer's lawyer filed a motion to pause the divorce proceedings, claims his client needs time to reconsider her position. Translation: she wants back in now that her lover's disappeared and the money's out of reach. That's precisely what it means, Ted confirmed. What's her call? Deny the motion, I said. File for a restraining order barring her from any property under my name, and let's fast-track this divorce. I want it wrapped within 60 days. Aggressive, Ted said, sounding pleased. I'll file the paperwork today. One more thing, I added. Make certain the restraining order specifically bars her from within 500 feet of the guest cottage. I'm done glancing over my shoulder. Consider it handled. Jennifer showed up anyway, 2 days later, violating the temporary order before it was even finalized. Stood in my driveway in tears, begging for 5 minutes of my time. I phoned the police, waited inside while officers escorted her off the property, watched through the window as she argued with them, gesturing toward the house, likely insisting this was all some misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was consequences finally reaching someone who thought herself untouchable. The final hearing happened on a chilly November morning. Not a trial, just a procedural division hearing where the judge would examine our filings and reach her conclusions. Clean, clinical, and absolutely crushing for Jennifer's side. Ted and I arrived at 8:30. Jennifer was already there with Lawrence Pierce, who looked like he'd aged 5 years in 3 months. She wore a navy suit that likely cost a fortune, trying to appear composed, avoiding my gaze entirely. Madison sat behind her mother, arms folded, staring blankly ahead. No Derek to support Jennifer, no friends in attendance, just her daughter, and a lawyer who already knew defeat was certain. The judge, Carol Brennan, 62, known for cutting straight through nonsense, reviewed our files for 10 minutes while we sat in silence, then looked up over her glasses. I've gone through the trust documentation, Judge Brennan began. The Wellington Trust predates this marriage by 12 years. Mrs. Doyle acknowledged its separate status in writing during estate planning in 2018. Those signatures are notarized and witnessed. She turned a page. The Crescent Foundation transfer is properly executed and legally sound. The conduct clause within the revised will is uncommon but entirely lawful. Pierce rose. Your Honor, we believe. Mr. Pierce, Judge Brennan cut in, I've read all 17 of your filings. Your commingling arguments lack supporting evidence. Your claims of concealed assets are refuted by 3 decades of documentation. Your client relinquished her rights voluntarily. This court won't invalidate legal paperwork simply because your client regrets skipping the fine print. Jennifer's head dropped. Madison buried her face in her hands. The trust assets remain with Mr. Doyle, Judge Brennan continued. The marital residence, purchased with trust funds prior to the marriage, remains with Mr. Doyle. The vehicles, investment accounts, and commercial properties all remain with Mr. Doyle. Mrs. Doyle will retain her personal effects and any assets brought into the marriage, which per these records totals roughly $17,000 in jewelry and savings. Your Honor, Pierce tried once more, voice strained. 25 years of marriage, 25 years during which her client sustained a lifestyle funded entirely by assets she holds no legal right to. This court has sympathy for difficult circumstances, Mr. Pierce, Judge Brennan said firmly, but sympathy doesn't override legal documentation. The division was finalized as filed. She signed the order, the clerk stamped it, and just like that, it was over. Pierce collected his papers without glancing at Jennifer. Madison finally looked my way, and I caught something in her expression I hadn't seen in years. Real, genuine regret. I stood. Ted rested a hand briefly on my shoulder, then led the way out. I followed without looking back at either of them. No need to. That chapter had closed. Outside, the November wind sliced through the parking lot. Ted shook my hand. "It's finished," he said plainly. "Yeah," I answered. "It is." 2 years passed, and I ran into Jennifer at a grocery store in the neighboring town. I was grabbing steaks for a cookout, just going about my quiet life, when I rounded a corner, and there she stood. She looked older, worn in a way that went beyond the physical. Her cart held generic brands and clearance items. She wore plain jeans and a basic sweater, nothing like the designer wardrobe she once favored. Our eyes locked. She stiffened. I watched recognition and shame cross her face together. "Preston," she said quietly, uncertain whether she should even speak. I gave a polite nod. "Jennifer." She parted her lips as if to say something, then closed them again, her grip tightening on the cart handle until her knuckles paled. I could see her searching for words, any words, that might close the gap between where we'd once stood and where we'd landed. I offered no help, just waited to see if she'd actually attempt the conversation. "How have you been?" she finally managed, the question sounding absurd even as it left her mouth. "Good," I answered simply. "You?" She laughed, though it rang hollow. "Getting by. Working retail these days. Staying with Sarah for now until I can manage my own place."
She paused.
"Madison's doing fine, working entry-level at a marketing firm. She asks about you sometimes." "That's good," I said and meant it. I hope she finds whatever she's searching for. Jennifer's eyes brimmed with tears. "Preston, I don't," I said gently but firmly. "Whatever you're about to say, don't. It's been 2 years. We're different people now. Let's leave it there." She nodded, wiping quickly at her eyes. "You're right. I wanted you to know I understand now what I gave up. What Derek really was what you..." She caught herself. "Never mind. I hope you're happy, Preston. Truly." "I am," I said, and I meant every word. I walked past her down the aisle, grabbed what I came for, and headed to check out. Didn't look back. Felt no anger, no satisfaction, not even pity, just a quiet neutrality, like passing a stranger who once mattered a lifetime ago. Henry, my son from my first marriage, was waiting at the house when I got home, flown in from Seattle for the weekend. 32 years old, a pediatric surgeon, and the finest thing I ever had a hand in raising. "Dad," he said, helping carry in groceries. The Foundation's scholarship program just funded its 50th student. 50 already? I said, genuinely startled. 50 kids who wouldn't have had a shot otherwise, Henry said. All because you decided to put your money somewhere it could actually make a difference. He paused. Mom would have been proud. Grandpa, too. I thought about the Wellington Trust, about all those years spent building something meant to outlast me, about Jennifer and Madison, who'd tried tearing it down for fleeting comfort, about Dorothy, who'd stood beside me when her own daughter wouldn't. "Yeah," I said, lighting the grill. "I think you're right." We spent that evening grilling steaks, drinking beer, talking about everything except the past because the past was finished. The future was what counted now. And for the first time in years, that future looked genuinely bright.